Hey Sunspace Sun, I'm Daisy Viktoria, and welcome to this look at ancient Roman clothing. Those of you who've been here for a while may have noticed a slightly larger gap between the last video and this one. That's because I've been taking a break to work on some mental growth. I'm actually still on the break, but this was a really simple project that I really thought would help a lot of people, especially going into the hot summer months. And I just wanted to make a quick video to share this with you. The purpose of this video and this project is really multifaceted. This should provide inspiration for any type of Ren Faire, SCA events, LARP, community theater productions, like really anything that might have a Roman influence. And I'm going to share with you what from this project is based on historical and what I've used to make it really accessible and also to add sort of a fantasy flair to my outfit. Now, going into this project, the inspiration was it's summer and it's hot out. So I think we could all use some very basic, simple, lightweight summer clothes. What's also cool about this outfit is that it does have multiple layers, so you can wear it a number of different ways. You can even use this to transition from, the hottest time of the day to when it cools off a bit in the evening. You can just add and subtract the layers that go with it, and I think that's really cool. I wanted to make sure that I really had more of an in-depth understanding of Roman culture and costume from the ancient Roman period, and having only dabbled in that myself, I reached out to a friend of mine. Cheryl, or in the SCA Claudia, is someone who does a lot of research on ancient Rome, and she actually referred me to her friend Tulia, who specializes more specifically in the clothing of ancient Rome. Tulia's focus is on the late Republic period, about 50 CE, and her research is available on her website, so I will link that in case any of you are interested in going a little more into the historical side of this. The first part of a Roman outfit is a tunica. I love this because it's so easy for anyone. Like, you don't even have to be a sewer really to create a tunica. The most basic tunica is literally a tube that's just pinned at the shoulders. This style of garment was also worn by the ancient Greeks, and there are a few differences if you want to get into the specific artworks and social customs of, as the culture evolved. However, if you're just going for like a generic inspiration, there's a lot of similarities. So you can kind of pick and choose what speaks to you. Specifically, my inspiration was what is called the gap sleeve tunica in Roman times, or the Ionic chiton in ancient Greece. This garment is long enough so that it kind of has sleeves, and it's pinned at several places on the shoulders. Now, I did mine as a peplo style, and that's because I used a very sheer fabric. By the way, all my fabrics that I'm using here are thrifted, so I'm also showing you guys how you don't have to even go out and spend a lot of money to create a warm weather outfit. You can hit up a thrift store, find, sheets, fabric, whatever they have, that's the right size, right? What I thrifted came in 2 pieces, so I'm using this as 1 piece in front and 1 piece in back. You can also sew these up the sides if you prefer that. The peplos is another style that was worn in ancient Greece as well. The peplos and the Ionic chiton and gap sleeve tunic can be worn alone, just belted at the waist, and it's that easy. You can have an outfit just like that. You're good to go. But we're gonna add some more to it to give you a few more options. By the way, I did read that sheer garments were used a lot around the house, where women were just kind of in a more maybe hot and humid environment, getting their chores done and stuff, where it didn't really matter as much that they were as covered up. But typically when you wear a garment out, you would want a little more modesty. The next garment is the stola. Now the stola is a very short-lived garment compared to the rest of the garments. The stola is an overdress, so we never see the stola alone in portraits. We do see other tube tunicas that don't have as long sleeves, but the stola tends to be the overdress. It is typically made of a lightweight wool that has a nice drape, and the stola is a tube. It could have straps, round pins, or fabric knots at the shoulders to hold it onto you. And the stola is typically worn double belted, which I'll show you. I read that the stola was introduced around the 3rd century BCE, and it's sort of a garment that declares I'm a respectable Roman matron, as stated by Tulia. I also read that unmarried girls and immoral people and so on, like generally I guess you would think of as like a lower status, right, were forbidden to wear this. So it's definitely a status garment. The stola went out of fashion in the early empire, so it's not a long-lived garment. But I like it and I wanted to explore it as another layer option. My stola is made of linen, and that is because again, I'm going for something for a really hot environment. So if you want to make a more, historically plausible outfit, you can use the lightweight wool. It's like a higher accuracy fabric. My linen is thrifted. All the fabrics are thrifted, so easy to put this together. And for my stola, I simply pinned the shoulders. The stola is belted, and it's actually belted twice. The second belt is around the hips, and you can kind of pull the stola up through that belt, and it creates this nice hippie silhouette, which I read was fashionable in that time period. Next layer we have is a palla. This is a long rectangle of cloth, usually wool. The palla needs to be long enough to wrap from basically across your shoulders and over your head and back across. And it is wide enough to act as a head cover. Since we don't have evidence of pins being used with these, you could obviously use pins if that makes it work for you with your fabrics. But again, if you wanted to go for that more like accurate to the paintings look, you would want to do it without pins, maybe with like a wool. Tulia recommends grabbier, grabby wools that will kind of like stick to themselves, and that'll help them stay in place. My palla is actually a dupatta, which I thrifted as well. A dupatta is an Indian form of a scarf shawl wrap, and it's about the right size to be a palla for me. This is again where my outfit goes a little bit fantasy. The decorative nature of this particular palla is not particularly accurate to the paintings, but its general look and feel gives me that Roman-esque sort of look. Some palla in period did have contrasting trim, but mine is a little fancier. With all the layers on, obviously it's a little warmer, so this would be great to transition you to nighttime at an event. It's really, really easy to put together. It's all rectangles pinned together. You don't even need to sew to make this. Now, obviously you might want to hem the fabric so they don't unravel, but you know what? If you don't want to hem them, you could still wear it. And in fact, some of these came already hemmed because I thrifted them. So, that's pretty cool. I also totally forgot to mention that you can wear the tunica and the palla without the stola. In fact, when I was talking to my friend Claudia, she recommended this to me rather than going for the whole 3-layer approach because it's something that works really well for the hot weather. So keep in mind that you can also do just the tunica and the palla. You don't need the stola overdress. By the way, the cup I'm using for this photo shoot is actually a really super cool one. So I pretty much presented this side, the labyrinth symbol in the photo shoot. On the other side, it has a Minoan snake goddess. This is a unique cup that I purchased from Omen in New Orleans last time I was down there. This was made by a local artisan, and I am such a sucker for handmade art. Plus, when I saw a chalice that had the Minoan snake goddess on it, I knew I had to have it. So if you don't know, I also love ancient Minoan culture, and really I just love learning about all ancient cultures. I don't know why, but I just really like ancient things. So anyway, love this chalice. Amazing. Thought you guys might appreciate it too. In addition to this look, I do have one final option. This final option relies on just wearing the stola, which, as we stated, the stola is only an overgarment, but since my stola is linen, I can kind of get away with saying it's actually a tunica, because remember, there is also a tube tunica that doesn't have sleeves, and that is exactly essentially what I've made here. I just called it a stola at first, even though it wasn't wool. I wore it as a stola overdress. So the most comfortable, I think, for super duper hot days would be just this piece alone. This piece is worn just like the tunica I showed you before. It is simply belted, and I have double belted this because it is very long. I did sew the sides of my stola slash tube tunica, but I left part of one side open as sort of a leg gap to make walking easier, because otherwise it would have been too narrow for my ease of walking. I also wanted to note here that the stola slash tube tunica, since mine is kind of both, doesn't have to be tied down this much in the front. I was sort of experimenting with a look that I thought I liked a little bit better. So you can just kind of leave it loose, just like I did with the other tunica, which was really a peplos. Or if you want to kind of try to stuff it down into the belt like I have, that is a way to give you more of a dramatic V shape, which some of the portraits kind of look like they have. And I think it feels pretty comfortable, provided you keep it in place there. So you've got a couple of options. You can kind of play with the drape and see what you like best. The double belting allows you to hike up this tunic even more, so it gives you a little bit more versatility. I read that women in any type of tunica would have perhaps worn them shorter around the house or working and things like that. So you can kind of take this inspiration to do a multitude of different ideas and projects. And I think that's really cool, because what I want to do is show you guys how you can very, very easily put something together. Maybe you want to go to Ren Faire and you don't want to die of the heat and it's so hot outside, and maybe you're not great at sewing, or maybe you are and you just want to do something really fast and not have to have a very involved project. You just want to go to Ren Faire. Either way, I got you. This project can really make a lot of things easily possible. So if you guys do try this out, whether it's for Ren Faire, SCA, a local theater performance, whatever it is, I would love to see what you do and what you took with this inspiration. You can find me on all the social medias as Daisy Viktoria. My website is daisyviktoria.com, and a special thank you to my patrons over on Patreon who help me so much to continue creating amazing content like this for all of you. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful, magical day. Don't forget to drink your water. Stay healthy, stay hydrated. It's hot out there this summer. Stay cool, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.